Hey everyone, welcome back to CardCollex. I'm Nathan, and this is part one in a two-part series on the state of the sports card market for 2021. In part one, I'm going to cover what we've seen over the last 6 months in the sports card market and why we've seen some of these changes and these drastic shifts. But part one is an important primer for part two, so make sure and watch this video first. Then in part two, I'll get into what we should see in the future, some predictions, and three major events that could have a big impact on the sports card market. Stay with me. Hey everyone, welcome back to CardCollex. Thanks for being here. I am excited to bring you a 6-month recap of what we've seen in the sports card market. Whether you want to call it a bubble or a bust, whatever you want to call it, we've definitely seen some huge growth. But we've also seen some scale backs. We've seen some sell-offs, and I want to get into that. I've got some really great information that I think is important to you. I've made up a little infographic here. It's just a 6-month recap of what I feel like the dynamics are in the sports card market, what we've seen. In November, we started seeing people recommending and focusing on off-season buying and selling before the season starts. I saw a lot of sports card YouTube channels talking about this. We're telling people, and I've even recommended it to people because it is a pretty safe way to make some money in the sports card market. And I think you have a lot of new investors that are gaining knowledge and want to take their collecting, investing game to the next level. And they say, okay, well, I'm getting advice on this, so this is something I want to act on. So I think in November we saw a shift to people really kind of start to pay attention to that. New people start to pay attention to that and start to act on that. Then on December 22nd, we have the NBA season opener. We come down. December 24th, this is a big one. Luka Doncic base prism peaks at $2,000, around $2,000. I think it got up to $2,200 at one point in time. And that was the peak. I also put in here a note, the Luka Select Premier rookie was $1,000. And also for baseball, the Juan Soto Topps Update US 300 base rookie card was at $200. All right. So that's 2 days after the season opener, we see the peak of the Luka Prism. So that's telling us that people are selling off, that they're taking profits, and that they're looking to do something with that money. And that's a trend that we'll see in this timeline, is that people, when they're selling, they're also looking at things to buy. They're also buying. We want to get ahead of those trends. Market trends are one of the best ways to capitalize on the sports card market. And so that's why I'm going through this. I think that's the biggest, most valuable takeaway from this video, is trying to identify and kind of understand market trends. So the Soto US 300 is at 200. The Luka Prism peaks at 2,000, and the Select Premier is at $1,000. About a month later, all right, we're having a sell-off in the basketball market. Stuff's dropping in the basketball market. February 1st, we have the record Michael Jordan sale of around $750,000. And this was really a defining moment in the last 6 months of the sports card market. People absolutely freaked. Started buying a lot of quote-unquote GOAT cards, 90s basketball. Let's just say 90s basketball. People started buying a ton of 90s basketball very quickly. Prices shot up and then almost as quickly came back down. I have included the Allen Iverson Topps rookie number 171 as kind of identifier here. This card back in December, I think, was going for around $300 in a PSA 10. But this card peaked at $1,500 on February 15th, just 2 weeks later. All right, I think we saw this card go from like $500-$600 on February 1st, the same time as the Jordan sale, to $1,500, almost 300% increase in 2 weeks. So we saw the NBA sell-off. We saw people reinvest, and they're wondering where to go with this money. It's a little bit early for the baseball season, although we are seeing increases, big increases in like the top three, like Tatis, Soto, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Ronald Acuna, top four, which just tells me there's a lot of new investors to the baseball market because they're focusing on those top 4 guys. They're not focusing on the undervalued guys. All right, the guys that are stars but aren't as valued. They're focusing top 5: Mike Trout, Acuna, Tatis, Soto, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. The guys that are hot, that are big in the news, whether it's YouTube or whether it's in the media. And this is the baseball offseason. Like, they're not doing anything that they haven't already done during the regular season, the previous regular season. They're looking for places to go with that money that they've got from selling off. Around this time, we're also seeing stimulus payments. That's part of this as well. We did see a bump whenever stimulus checks went out. So people invest in this and then almost as quickly decide, I guess, maybe I'm not as interested in Hall of Fame, 1990s basketball cards as I thought I was. Or, this market's gone up so much that I don't think there's much more that can be gotten out of it. So we see people get in, the market shoots up, and they take profits and get out. So it goes up, comes down just about as quickly. On March 3rd, so this is 3 months after the Luka Prism peaks, we see the Soto peak. So we see the Soto peak at $350. So it's up 75% from where it was on December 24th in 3 months, which is huge. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Something that 2 years ago you just don't see in the sports card market unless somebody just does something outrageous, is having an amazing year. I mean, you just don't see that. And with baseball, it was interesting because I think a lot of people, myself included, thought baseball maybe had more legs than what it did, that it had more room to go up. We didn't see it go up a whole lot. And that's just a factor of the baseball market. It's a more mature market. It's, for more or less, a more conservative market. So people coming out of the basketball market didn't necessarily know, how to take this because they weren't necessarily as familiar with the baseball market. But the baseball market is more mature, more conservative. You're not going to see just crazy, ridiculous price increases across the board like you did in the basketball market last year. So Soto peaks March 3rd. MLB season opener is April 1st. And we've seen a big sell-off in baseball since basically March 3rd. Ronald Acuna's cards are down since season opener. And he is leading the majors in home runs, so that tells you something. But this is kind of what we've seen. And I think what this identifies is just that the market is stable, the market is strong. Because when people are selling, they're not taking that money and putting it into other things. They're taking that money and looking to invest it in sports cards, just in different places in sports cards. There are constantly new people coming in, but people are becoming more educated. So we're seeing a leveling out of the market. And so overall, I think the market's strong, but we need to be paying attention to where the next sell-off and reinvestment is. And that's what I want to talk about in part 2 of this video. 3 major events that could have a big impact on card prices and how to prepare for them. Overall, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate y'all being here. If you gained some value from this video, then please like and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel, use my eBay link down in the description, and anything you purchase within 24 hours will send a small commission back into the channel. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Please come back and visit me again at CardCollex.